Dude, I don't know if you feel like this, but I feel like we haven't talked in like a month. I know it's only been a week, but it feels like it's been forever. It's been a long week.
I feel the same way. I mean, I've had like so many thoughts going through my head in the last week. I feel I know exactly what you mean. So
Yeah, me too. Dude, first of all, how was the conference?
it was a lot of fun. Maybe that's
Yeah,
part of the reason why I feel like it's been so long.
yeah,
I met some really cool people, some really smart people. And actually last night I went to another like networking event. And
nice.
that might end up getting me a job. So we could
Dude, that's
talk about
awesome.
that as
So,
well. But yeah, I mean
cool.
networking is underrated.
Yeah, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Do you want to dive into that now? I've never listened
Yeah.
to Founders Podcast before. I've heard of it, but I just had never gone to listen to it. Dude, it was awesome. Like, it was the one with Naval. Is that how you say it?
Naval.
How you say
Yeah,
his name?
Naval. Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up listening to the whole thing. It is really good. And like I'm pretty interested by like biographies. Like I just like learning about like successful people. And yeah, I mean it seems like that's what the entire podcast is. Like basically just this guy just reads hundreds or maybe thousands of biographies and like basically just like analyzes them and just summarizes the book over in podcast form. So yeah, I'm gonna start listening. So and that was a really good one.
Yeah. Aside from MFM, I'd say it's probably now my second favorite podcast. It's
Nice.
just he used this maybe metaphor on one of the podcasts, and it kind of stuck with me. So if you're a well-known athlete, I'm sorry, if you're like a professional athlete, then you're gonna watch lots of game tape, right? To learn better, to learn the opponents, to learn what people have done in the past. Maybe you can improve your game from learning some skills from them. And he was like, look, it's the same exact thing, but you're just doing that with entrepreneurs. So
Yeah.
biographies are basically, you know, film on the world's or history's greatest entrepreneurs. So I really like that, and I think just that has made me listen to it more. I feel like you know, it made me increase the value. I value that podcast much more now because of that, and I feel like there's
Yeah.
endless value that I can get from it.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's a great point. Do you have some like key takeaways you got from that podcast, from that one episode?
Yeah, let me pull them up.
Okay.
So I've started keeping a list on my Notion of all the different biographies, and I kind of made like a little chart, and so it has stuff like who did this person learn for? Was this person balanced, or were they obsessed with their thing? What
Mm,
contrary opinions did they have? So I'm gonna start filling that out, and maybe I'll notice some patterns. We can
yeah.
kind of create like the you know the best person that you can be if you want to be super successful. But so far, what I've noticed is people go like 100% in. They don't care about anything else. They don't have a plan B. You know, this is plan A or no plan at all.
Yeah.
So okay,
Dude,
um,
add me to that notion and I'll add to it.
I will. Let me just yeah. So I'll add you to that, and then okay, just pulling this up real quick. Yeah. So okay, first thing that I noticed was you have to get equity to get rich. That's
Yeah.
big. That's repeated everywhere, but I think you can't say it enough. So that was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that I highlighted, two things that were most important to me from the whole episode. A clear thinker and speaker
Yeah.
is more valuable than a smart person every single time. And that
Yeah.
kind of blew me away. Like it doesn't matter if someone's dumb as long as they can speak clearly and, communicate well. That doesn't matter. And then the other thing was internal scorecard. You have to have an internal scorecard. So as long as you are comfortable with what you're doing, expect others to be uncomfortable with it. And I think that's a really
Yeah.
good way to put it. So it almost reframes my mind from thinking like, oh, other people don't like it. Like, should I be doing it too? Oh, other people
Totally.
don't like it. Other people don't like it. Therefore, I'm actually listening to my own, to my own heart on this one, and that makes me like more listen to it in a way.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, those are great points. Um, I felt like there were a couple that stood out to me too. Like one of them, like building specific knowledge will feel like play to you, but work to others. And that
Yeah,
kind of branches into this like other side of it that says he says if you're not 100% into it, there's
yeah,
someone else out there who is and is going to destroy you. And I just
destroy it.
think
Yeah,
that's like yeah, and I think that like kind of plays in what you're saying is like there's like a pretty common theme among like successful people, and it's that they're 100% obsessed, and like from the outside, like we think that they're crazy. Like the family thinks they're crazy, the friends think they're crazy, the outside world thinks they're crazy. But to them, like they just love what they're doing. They're not crazy.
Yeah.
Like they enjoy the work.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that maybe I don't feel like I have. Like I'm not sure what that is for me. And so that's something that I want to find.
No, I'm the same. I'm on the same page with you there. I think, I had the same exact train of thought as you. Like, like I really enjoy reselling sneakers, or I really enjoy whatever working on e-commerce, but I don't feel this drive to be like 100% in. So
Yep.
it's kind of curious. Like I think for sure. I mean, at least the way my path is looking, like I'm not going to have that right away. So I have
Yep.
a little bit of time to figure that out. And I think another thing that he said in this podcast was, take a long time to make the really big decisions. So three big
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
decisions he
Yeah.
said, where you live, who you're with, and what you do. So this is what
Yep.
you do. I think it's okay. It's one of the few times where it's okay to delay that process and really just see where it takes you.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that was I think one of my key takeaways too. Like those three main, you know, like big decisions of life. And when he was like, you should take a long time to make these decisions, he literally said like, what was it, two or 3 years, I think was like the time frame that he gave for those. Um, and so yeah, that kind of hit me because I feel like I'm kind of in that spot where like I'm in the process of making those decisions. And I mean, you are too, where
Yeah.
I'm about to enter the workforce, like I'm going into sales. Like luckily, like I actually feel like that's the right decision. Like that's where I want to go. So that's great. But
Yeah.
then like as far as like where I live, like honestly, I had kind of settled where I'm just like, you know what? I'll stay in Phoenix. Like my girlfriend's here, my family's here. Like I got a job here. Like maybe I'll move later on. Like maybe I'll go like where the opportunities are like later on, but not now. But yeah, when he said that, it kind of, made me rethink, like maybe I need to reevaluate that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Definitely. I think
Yeah.
we should start reviewing one of these podcasts a week. Either I'll
Cool.
send you one interesting one, or you send me one interesting one, and I can listen to it, and we'll just focus on one that we thought was like really super valuable, and we can talk about it because I
Yeah.
think it helps to kind of reaffirm those thoughts into your brain. So
Oh, dude, I agree. I agree.
cool.
Hey, did you listen to the Palmer Luckey episode on MFM?
I did. I did.
Okay. Dude, I wanted to kind of branch to that because I think there were some like I thought that was a really good pod and I had some really good takeaways.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to share this quote from it. On the podcast, he said, when an opportunity presents itself, you cannot say no, even if it is much higher risk. Program your mind to believe that if an opportunity presents itself to you, you have to take it, like
Hmm.
non-negotiable. And I think I didn't write down a specific example, but I think his example was he was working on VR. He wanted to start Oculus. He kind of had this opportunity. PlayStation came to him, offered him a job, high paying
Yeah.
job, whatever it was, to help like develop VR for their program. And he said no. And then they came back and literally doubled their offer. And like he still said no. Um, and that goes in the same thing. Like everyone around him thought he was crazy, but he was like, no, like I have an opportunity, like this opportunity has presented itself. And he was like, it wasn't not even a hard decision for me. Like I literally, I physically cannot say no to this opportunity. Like I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's just another common theme. Like we think people have these choices, but people like even like Elon Musk is a perfect example. Like he will tell you failure, like it's just not a choice. Like giving up is not a choice. I'm gonna I'm gonna just run these companies until like either they burn and die and I die, or they kill it. And like there's just no in between. And I think that's like super powerful and yeah, just such a good trait to have.
Yeah. I really like that quote. Maybe one thing I'll follow up on is, um, what exactly does he mean by, you can't pass up any opportunities? Like if someone offers you a job to work at an ice cream place, like, you should probably pass that up. So what exactly do you think that means?
Well, I don't think he means an opportunity to work for somebody else. I think he means like an opportunity as in like so I guess it's actually like probably like a personal like there's a personal meaning to it. So for him, like
Okay.
I think he feels like and he didn't say this. I'm just you know
Yeah, I gotta go for it.
it's a guess, but like I think he would say like my life purpose or like my life goal is to like make a product innovate and like improve the world around me. Like that's what I want to do. Like I want to make a product, I want to innovate, and I want to like improve the lives of people around me. And he
Yeah.
wants to build a successful business. So when an
Right.
opportunity presents itself to accomplish his life goal or whatever his dream, whatever it is, like you can't say no to that.
Yeah. 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 I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you
One more
you
thing
had
from
some topics here. Do you want to go into some of them?
for sure. Yeah. I'm kind of so opportunities. That was the one with Palmer Luckey.
Got
And
it.
I have one more quote from him from the pod that I kind of want to get into a little bit because it's kind of contrary to what we hear most of the time. But his quote was, "Make it a priority to know a little about a lot," which is interesting because I feel like I hear the opposite all the time. Like, pick one skill and go all in for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, he just said the complete opposite, which I thought was interesting. And I posted about it on Twitter, like just the quote, and thought it was interesting. And the startup kid, I think his name is Akshay. I don't know how
Akshay.
to say
Yeah.
it. But he shared this quote that is, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but is still better than a master of one." Um, and yeah, I just think that's
Hmm.
an interesting thought, and I wanted to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah. This is a tough one because I mean, for a while I've been riding the train of learn one thing and go all in on it. But maybe it's not so much learn one skill and go all in on it. It's take one business idea and go all in on it and learn a bunch of skills to make that one business idea really good. And if you fail one time, then learn a skill so that you don't fail in that same exact way and then redo it again. So
Mm,
um, yeah, I mean, I think that's what I'm going with is that you do need many skills, and it's really important to learn as many as you can.
yeah, yeah. I think I've kind of adopted like a similar way of thinking. And the other thing
Yeah,
too is I have a buddy who follows me on Twitter. He commented something that I think was a pretty good thought was like, learning multiple skills like is way more, over the course of like 5 to 10 years, is way more attainable than like, honing in on one skill for the next 10 years. Like I think some people have like the willpower to do that, but like
yeah,
I'll be the first to admit I do not have the willpower to only learn how to write for the next 10 years.
yeah.
Like
It's crazy.
there's no way I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good thought.
Yeah, maybe though, an important thing to note is all these people that I've heard the biographies about, they do tend to go all in on one business, but also some of them are going in all in on one skill. And so I think it's that obsessive personality type that makes people famous and that gets books written about them. So
Yeah.
maybe for those out there who want the books written about them, go all in on something. But for all of us over here,
Yeah.
we're content to just learn what we can and chill along with it, I think.
Do you feel like you have that personality type?
No,
No.
no, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I wish I did, and sometimes I feel like I can almost like fake it until it
Yeah.
just like happens. But I don't know. I don't know if that's for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I think, yeah. I think I don't think I have like that extreme of that, extreme kind of personality type, but I definitely think like I have like those obsessive tendencies. Like I, but here's the thing, like for me, like, and I think, this is normal, but I think for me, it's got to be something that like I really want. Like if there's something that I really want, like yeah, I do feel like that. Like I don't really take no for an answer, and I just go and get it. And honestly, usually like in my life, I feel like it works out. Like if I really want something, like I can get it, and I feel
Yeah,
pretty confident in that.
yeah,
Um, and I feel confident that that'll translate, to business or whatever it is, like to success in life. But
yeah,
as I said earlier, I just feel like I'm not sure what that is yet, and I don't have that passion about anything yet.
yeah. No, I agree the same way. I was actually just given two examples about how I feel like I can get whatever I want just if I put my mind to it. So when I got my first internship at the private equity real estate place, I decided like one afternoon is like a half day, and I was at home. I was like, man, I'm bored. It was all rainy. I was like, I want an internship. Like, where do I want to work? Private equity. I think I might have told you this before, but private equity, like, hedge fund, something like that. So I look up like all these places. I bookmark like the best ones. I check the websites, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go. And I like printed out some resumes, got a QR code that they could scan because it was COVID. Um, and then I just went and I went into 20, and then finally on the 20th one, I was about ready to give up, but they were like, okay, so just a little bit of effort there. And then same with my e-commerce job that I have now. I met this guy. He told me what he does, and I was like, oh hey, I like what you do. Then messaged him next day on Instagram, kept messaging him for like a month until we set up a call, and then he was like, okay, all right, fine, fine,
Yeah.
you can come on. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's really hard to believe otherwise when I have these like two really concrete examples of how I just like put my mind to it and just got it. And it honestly, like, nothing else would have mattered. You know, I did it, and I put my mind to it and I did it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, that's like almost like an obsessive trait. Like I feel like you kind of like downplay those like events that happen there. Like, dude, like that's crazy. Like those are like I don't know, to like normal people, like the outside world, like no one does that. And like that's not normal. And I feel like maybe you don't see that. And I feel like that's also like a common trait among successful people is like they have these traits and they don't see it as like abnormal. But like it is. Like that's not it's not really normal for like how old were you then? Like were you 17 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like 17. It's not normal for a 17-year-old kid to like on a half day of school be thinking about like, oh, I want to intern with a private equity firm. Let me find the 20 best ones and just go to all of them and like try and get a job. Like, yeah, I, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone else that's done that. So
Appreciate that.
yeah, that's awesome. That's
Okay.
cool.
Cool. I want to get into some of the ideas we have for making 30K a month, but first I want you to go through one of these. So you pick which one you like the most.
Um, so honestly, I've already hit like opportunities and I've kind of hit MFM guests, but I guess we're kind of on this train already, so let's like kind of keep going on it. But so on the pod, I feel like Sean and Sam are kind of they're always pointing out like crazy things about guests and like people they admire. And like typically it's just traits that are like kind of out of the ordinary. So
Yeah.
like my question to you is like if they were to analyze you, if you were to go on the pod, and like after the pod they're going to give like a rundown of the episode, like what are the traits you have that you feel like maybe are crazy or like out of the ordinary? And then also, like on the contrary, like what are some negative traits you have that you feel like might impact you down the road?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. That's a tough question. I want to write this one down for later. Top top traits and like worst traits.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, first thing that comes to mind is Sean's always saying like, I'm kind of lazy. I don't really want to go all in. Like I'd rather just be chill and I'm already pretty successful. Like I just want to do some things that are kind of interesting to me. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm kind of similar to that. We mentioned this before, but I don't feel like I'm super obsessive personality. So I'm more to the
Yeah.
Sean side than I think Sam's more on the obsessive side of it. And
Yeah.
I think maybe I'm a little bit in between, but more towards the Sean side. So I think you don't always have the same motivation to get stuff done. Um,
Yeah.
but best traits, I mean, that's tough. I feel like if let's pretend I'm gonna edit the question. Let's pretend that I'm successful, right? And that's why they're interviewing me. So this is in 10 years.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
one of the things that I'd talk about is that I'm a good leader, or maybe not a good leader, but a good manager of the company. So I connect really well with the people that I've hired, the people that I'm employing, because I think I'm a pretty good listener, and do pretty well at understanding what's going through someone's mind when I'm looking at them and when they're trying to explain. Um, so maybe I'd talk about that, but honestly, I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think that's good.
And you?
Um, yeah, I feel like I'll start with negative traits. Like negative traits, and these are like the worst traits to have as like trying to be an entrepreneur. But I think like I don't have a bias towards action. And um, I have a pretty big fear of failure. So, and those kind of go hand in hand. Like I feel like I don't have a bias towards action because I have a fear of failure. Um, so yeah, like those are two of the main ones that I struggle with. And then as positive traits, like yeah, I feel like I am a bit obsessive. So I think what same thing as you. Like when I look, if I picture myself in the future, talking to them about my past, I'd probably give some of the credit to like being obsessive. Like if I want something, like I just go and get it, and usually it works out. And then also like I do think this is kind of maybe a little bit similar to yours, but I feel like I'm a good leader, and I feel like I am good at pitching a vision, and I feel like I can get people on board. yeah, I feel like I can get people on my side like fairly easily. Like I don't know what it is, but I feel like I kind of have this like aura and like passion, and I feel like I don't know, like I feel like it kind of draws people in. So I think those are two of my maybe outstanding traits.
Good, yeah, yeah. Those are good ones, and that helps you with sales as well. The explaining, convincing kind of part of it. So that's good.
Definitely, definitely.
That's good.
Okay.
Actually, real quick, funny you mentioned this because I just started a little like document of hardest questions to answer. So, whether you're in an interview or, I don't know, some kid is asking you about like, oh, hey, how can I make $1 million? Like the hardest questions to answer, the ones that you're just like, shoot, like why did you ask that? And I have to think really hard. Like I have to
Yeah,
try to scramble
yeah,
to come up with something before you think that I'm dumb because I'm taking too long. So I think it's good to have these like thought out before someone asks you, and I think it can save a lot of pain and maybe get you a job or something. So
yeah.
I haven't completed it yet, but once I do, I'll send it over.
Dude, that's awesome. That's good. Dude, kind of on that, I would like to create, like Sean talks about this all the time on MFM. But he like has a list of like running phrases or whatever to like help transition from a certain situation. Dude, I think that's money. I think all the time there's like, I don't know, whether it's like a conversation that like I don't necessarily want to be in, like I've got to be somewhere. It's like I never have any like I don't know how to get out of a conversation. Like and I every time it happens, I'm always like, dang, like I need to have like a go-to phrase or go-to phrases, and I just don't. So, anyways, I want
Yeah,
to start making a similar document for that.
that's hilarious. So actually, when I heard that on the pod, I went and I made a document for it. I only have like two things added in there. But yeah, we can collaborate on that and figure out because I would like some of those as well. Otherwise, I'm in like a 20-minute conversation that should have been like 5 minutes. So I agree. Okay.
Dude, yes, that's hilarious. That's funny. Okay. Do you have any ideas? Any ideas?
Yeah, so let me kind of lay it out for you how it looks. So there's a couple different like main branches we can go down, and down each of those is it gets smaller. So first
Okay.
is flamingo sneakers. The investing thing that I'm doing with sneakers. I feel like I could take that. Well, okay, we'll leave that. We'll leave that going to more. So I can tackle that and put all my effort into that. Number two is sales. So a couple different options for sales. Number three is e-commerce, and number four is AI/other.
Okay.
And that's the most kind of out there one, the most uncertain one. So which one you want to hear about first?
Let's hear the most out there one. Let's hear AI.
Okay, so AI. So I feel like AI, we both heard this that $100 million companies are being made right now. They're being founded maybe in the next 6 months, next year. So there's huge
Yeah.
opportunity. The one issue is we don't know a lot about it, and we maybe don't know how to program. But two things that kind of stuck with me is one, I think some people I've talked to, it's not that hard to kind of learn the basics of coding, and once you at least learn that, then
Yep.
it makes it much easier to talk to someone. I met I don't know, 5 people in the last 3 weeks who studied AI in school, and so I could lean on them for a resource. Or there's YouTube. We if we can figure out um, how to make Dolly into a specific use case, if you know what I mean, like how to make
Yep.
that specific use case, then I think there's lots and lots of money to be made. So then pretty much it's a matter of branding and marketing and how fast we can scale up before someone else catches up, right? So
Yep.
that's a big one. I think definitely the most uncertain, but has probably the most potential out of all of them. What do you
Yeah.
think?
No. Yeah, I agree. I think like right now, like with AI, it feels like we've gone through this like development and like testing phase and like, getting these new products out. And basically, like I feel like with the exception of like a couple companies, like pretty much everything is just feels like it's in the beta. Like there's nothing legit. Like there's no like massive company that's come out yet. But yeah, like there are companies being founded right now that will be 100 plus million dollar companies. And I think that if we can get in now and like dig really deep and find this super specific niche and like tackle it, like I think there's countless opportunities to kill it. And honestly, I
Yeah,
feel like we just if we have the ability to create that platform, then I honestly think we just need to pick one, and like I think we'll kill it. So yeah, I think AI, because it's just a new wave of technology. Um, yeah, I think it has the most upside.
Okay, give me a likelihood score. Give me like a 1 through 10. You know, how good is this path? How likely is it? Take those into consideration. How what do you rate this one?
Uh, I give this one a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Okay.
What do you give
Too
it?
much uncertainty.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainty. Yeah,
Okay.
because
We'll go.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
expand on that real quick because I
Yeah.
feel like I've thought, and told you about this last week. Like I thought last week, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go down this path and like whatever. Hypothetically, we go down the path, we create this product, this like variation, whatever, it goes live. It's like even past like the live point where like maybe you're in a beta or you're doing testing, like dude, there's so much work to be done like on the back end of things, just like forever. And so I feel like unless we have someone A that like we really trust and B that's like really skilled, like a really skilled engineer, then
Yeah.
I just think the likelihood of it working and staying afloat for like a long period of time without being copied or mimicked or whatever, then I don't think yeah, I don't think there's a high chance of success.
Yeah. One thing that I'll note. So yesterday, I'll tell you more about this, but yesterday I was talking to a guy at this networking event, and he said that actually, if you're looking for a technical co-founder or any sort of founder, YC has a website that you can go on and like search for a co-founder. So maybe that's an option to go on there and look that up, or at least note
Hmm.
that down, and we can both check it out because I haven't checked it out yet.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Okay,
that's good.
cool. All right. Next one, let's do flamingo sneakers. So I think there's a lot of
Cool.
opportunity here. I'm managing about 20,000 right now, which is pretty solid considering I don't have like um I don't have a website, I don't really have like platform. And one thing that this guy that I was talking, okay, we'll go into this. So the guy that I met last night, it was actually a couple, and they got invited to YC earlier this year. So about 9 months ago, they were working on this company, and basically the idea is cybersecurity. So every once in a while, typically in most companies, once a year, you'll do like a check, some sort of check to see if like anything's been corrupted or been attacked, right? But
Yeah.
what he's doing is like making it so that it's more frequent. And he has like, I don't know, he has some other stuff. He's basically his history is he's like a hacker kind of guy. So he used to like do
Okay,
ethical hacking for companies to test their systems and stuff like that. So,
I
anyways,
see.
they got accepted into YC, and 9 months ago, he spent like 4 months riding around on a bus, the Netherlands, looking for customers, and spent 4 months and didn't get a single customer. And after going through YC, his company is valued at 30 million. So
Oh my gosh.
pretty
Wow.
crazy change. But anyways, just to give him some credibility. So when I was
Yeah.
telling him about Flamingo sneakers, he was saying, that's really good that you already have this much revenue and you barely even have a product. And the second thing is it's automatable, so I can create some sort of algorithm or something like that automates the process, and I don't have to do the work anymore. So that helps it scale up. So
Yeah.
so I can go down that path. I think the one issue is I'm not exactly sure how the sneaker market's going to play out. It's much different than it was 1 year ago. Nike's changed things up. The economy is different, and so I don't know how well I can actually perform in the market. So I think
Yep.
that's a pretty big risk. And so a couple of other ideas that I've heard or that I think I could consider is to make it easier to scale. So the first one is instead of managing your specific like portfolio and then buying sneakers in and out of that, I can just create something like an index fund. And so I'll say, okay, I have this pool of sneakers. This is all my sneakers. You can buy a certain percentage of it, and this pool is going to slowly grow over time. You can sell your percentage whenever you want. So that makes it
Yep.
slightly easier to scale. Another option is to just make a platform where people buy in and sell their own sneakers, and then I'm just kind of the one who's storing them. So that's an
Okay.
option. Another option would be something like so nowadays, if you want to invest in the stock market, there's lots of apps where you can go and follow specific people who give advice on it. So I could do the same
Yep.
thing like that, but for sneakers. Another
That's
idea I
cool.
had was there's a site called Houdinki. Do you know what that is? Do you know what it is? Watch
Uh-uh.
brand.
No.
So they basically do a ton of like high quality content, and they have their own watches. If you look it up, and so I could do. They basically give advice on, you know, what watch should you buy and hold for 10 years. They're not looking at like short term flippers and anything like that. It's like for like the people who are really into it,
Hmm.
and so I could do something along that. That's more like higher level. So there's a couple of
Yep.
different ideas I could pivot. And I've already got a little bit of traction, but there's this uncertainty of I don't know how reliable the sneaker market is. So give me a score on that
Yeah.
one.
Uh, I think that one's higher. I give that one a 5 out of 10.
Okay. Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? What
Out
would you give it?
I don't know. I feel like I'm too biased. I don't wanna give it a score, but I don't know. It feels pretty uncertain as well. It's a lot of pressure to have money under management and not know if I can actually make, the returns that I said I would. So I feel like it's
Yeah.
pretty stressful. So
Yep.
I don't know. But it is something that I enjoy doing. So I think that gives
Yeah.
bonus points for that.
That's yeah, totally, totally. Okay, let's do e-commerce.
E-commerce. Okay, so e-commerce. I told you about how I talked to Daryl, my boss, and he said I'm going to get you with this guy. He has like a formula, and then once after that, then I'll get you set up with your own brand, right?
Yep.
Cool. So, yesterday I watched a couple of videos. I found this channel. Maybe you'd be into it. I'll send it over to you. You can kind of get the idea of it and see if you want to go through all of them. It's many, many hours of content about, free. This guy's like setting up his own e-commerce store, giving you every step, like marketing, operations, all this different stuff. And so I think it's already proved pretty useful, but I want to get through all of them. I've only watched two videos so far, and that'll kind of give me I think a really good base on how to start my own store. And I
Yeah.
have a couple ideas on what I could do. So I could like start it now and I could just create my own product. I could take someone else's product and make it a little bit better. That's kind of the strategy that he teaches is like, hey, look for other well performing products and differentiate yours in some way. So I could try
Yep.
that. And then maybe some idea like supplements or pet supplements, I think is a good one to go off of. And it's really nice because I have this, like a team that can support me do it. So
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
that one's pretty straightforward. It's been proven a lot of times, but maybe at the same time more difficult because so many people have already done it. And so
Yep.
the risk is that I need a product that people actually want and that's different from other products in some way. So, what
Yeah.
are your thoughts?
I think so. I've been thinking about this a lot too. Like as far as ideas go, and I think uh, e-commerce has kind of been the one that I think I've landed on is uh, like highest success rate. Like I think so. I think I give this one an 8 out of 10. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I think I think it's like hard. Like obviously, like you're just entering a space with like tons of competition, no matter what product you launch. But I think like one, I, I have faith in myself and I have faith in you too. And I think that like especially like with I have more faith in you than I do with myself because of like the connections you have, like the experience you have in e-commerce, kind of thing that yeah, I just think this would probably give us the highest likeliness of success.
Yeah, and let me kind of add something to that. So, I mean, I've been selling stuff on eBay for a while, so I kind of understand the general idea of it just from selling because I'm not actually selling stuff with an e-commerce store right now.
Yep.
And there is a very good feeling when you get like the little notification and you see like made a sale. You're like yeah.
Yes, dude.
It's so
Yes,
gratifying. I think I've heard people talk about this on podcasts, but like when you get that little notification, it's just like the best feeling in the world. So there's something to be said
dude.
about motivation in that.
I agree. I think it's like so yeah, like dude, flipping, which I think e-commerce is almost like flipping, especially if you're like drop selling or just like taking a product you find wherever and just making it better and selling it for a higher price. Like, yeah, dude, that fires me up. And it's like fired me up since I was a kid. Um, yeah, dude. Yeah. So I love that idea. Like I get fired up by it and it becomes like something about me is I'm like hyper competitive. Like if something's a game, like I'm gonna win it. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of how I view this like flipping game or whatever, e-commerce, whatever you want to call it. And I think, yeah, I think we could succeed.
Okay. Um, and so I actually skipped over the other part in AI other. So we're gonna make 5 sections total. Do you want me to go with
Okay.
sales or other?
Do sales.
Okay. So a couple options here. First is I can get a remote job. I talked to you about this, like remote closers. That's the course that I took. But there's a couple complications with this. The first being that, so if I'm not a student anymore, I have to have some reason or some permit to stay in the Netherlands, and so it's
Yep.
actually much much tougher to get than I would have thought. So you can have like a self-employed one option. There's like a startup option, or you can be employed by someone else. So this guy that I met last night that has this startup, he's looking to hire people. So they have a ton of customers, but they can't onboard them all. They just have a couple bottlenecks. So the first is that they don't have enough engineers. So there's only three people right now. It's this one guy
Mm.
who's the CEO and the CTO. So he's the only technical guy in the company. Then it's his wife, and then it's some other partner guy that's doing the business development side of things. So they're overwhelmed on the technical side, but they also need salespeople. So he
Okay.
mentioned that he's hiring, or he's looking to hire two salespeople. I said, hey, I think we should at least talk, because it's interest of mine. I have a little bit of learning, I have knowledge on the subject, and I'd be willing to work as, for free for at least a little bit, and maybe as an intern. So that's an option, and that kind of solves the problem of working in the Netherlands. But additionally,
Yep.
I talked to, from all these people I've talked to at the conference to last night, whenever I network with people, actually, okay, so do you know Sequoia, the VC?
No.
Okay, so Google Sequoia,
Okay.
SEQ, but it's basically one of the biggest venture capital firms in the US, and one of the most successful. So, and one of the first ones, I think, as well.
Okay.
So at the conference, they had one of the partners speak, and this guy's name is George Robson. You can look him up as well, George Robson.
Okay.
He was helped build Revolut, which is a huge bank now over here in Europe. So basically, I was lucky enough to get to talk to him and ask him some questions afterwards. And I mean, first, let's talk about this guy in general. I mean, he was like the closest thing I've met to a genius. Like, I
Mm.
talked to him, and whenever I asked him a question, I swear it was like his brain instantly just created a full essay, answer to my question, and I was like mind blown about the way he like things that he said at the beginning connected to things at the end, and like woven through the middle. You know what I
Mm.
mean, of his answer, and it's like so
Yep.
different from people like me or you or whoever else, where it's like someone asks me a
Yep.
question, and typically it's like I have one first answer, and then maybe I think of something else to say along the way while I'm speaking, but this guy was like insane. Like, he just knew exactly what he was going to say. Anyways,
Mm.
I made this joke that I was like, I want to take George, and I want to just like keep him in the corner of my bedroom, because I swear he's better than Google, and he knows like everything. Like, he's better than
Yeah.
Google,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he will give me a very good answer for any question that I ask. So,
Yeah.
um, super cool. But one thing I asked him was, if I want to get a job or get started in startups, like, what should I go? And he was like, here, let me give you three things. So first is, as a kid, look for any sort of startup. It doesn't matter if they're going to fail or if they're going to succeed. Just work in like a startup that's easy to work in. And he said, don't work for free for longer than 90 days. So that was what he said.
Mm.
Um, and then second thing is, try to make it in an industry that you care about. So that's preferred.
Mm.
Industry that you care about. You can learn more things about that. And then third thing is, probably the most important, is work somewhere we can actually be in the office. And because you're going to gain more trust, you're going to get more responsibility, you're going to learn things that you wouldn't have otherwise. Overall, you're going to make a better connection with the founder or CEO who you're hopefully working with. So, kind of got me to thinking like, I should be looking really inside of the Netherlands for somewhere I can work. And I think I can do a search and kind of figure out a couple different companies, where I could bother them and hopefully get some sort of interview for maybe a sales position or maybe something else. But
Yep.
anyways, there's that.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Um, yeah, dude, that's awesome. You get to talk to that guy. I think that's experiences like that are great. Um,
Yeah.
is your thought like, what's your thought as far as like a business idea goes within sales? Is your thought just to like try and enter the sales world and then work your way up to 30K MMR?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. That's
Or
a that's
maybe,
a
yeah.
yeah, I think that's a pretty like safe. That's honestly that's probably the safest route. I don't think it's gonna like the thing with sales that's tough is like you're definitely not uh hitting the 30K MRR is like more difficult, right? It's like starting's easy, but like making it to that point like is definitely difficult.
Yeah.
Whereas I think with like these other things, like whether it's e-commerce or like AI or whatever, like starting and getting something launched is really hard. But then like once you've got it going, it's like the upside is just so much higher, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Because instead of trading your time, right, you're trading like your skills. So, um,
Definitely.
you you follow Alex Hormozy, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he had this neighbor. He was going to college. After like his first year, he didn't really like it so much. So, Alex Hormozy talked to him. He was like, "Hey man, I can tell you have this like entrepreneurial drive. Like, I don't think college is the right path for you." So he dropped out of college after 1 year. And that was 2 years ago. So he's been working for 2 years. And, you know, you can say this isn't going to work for everyone because this kid was mentored by Alex Hormozy, one of like the greatest salesmen of our time, I
Yep.
think. But basically he's at a point now where he's making around $250,000 a year. After only
Wow.
like 2 years of experience, and he already has like $200,000 saved up. So, I mean, it is possible, but even he's not there, right? So I think that's like
Yeah.
he is a pretty big success case. But you're right, 30K a month is quite a lot for sales, especially after
Yeah.
only two
Especially,
years.
yeah,
So
2 years. Yeah, that's what's tough. But yeah,
yeah,
the upside of sales is super high, and like, I mean, it's definitely secure. Like, you're always gonna have a job in sales, if you're good at it.
yep, yeah. And I think the good thing about sales is you can probably do something on the side as well
Oh, definitely.
to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to the 30K. So what are your thoughts on
for
that?
sure. Um, yeah, I think sales is a good route. I think I mean, that's always like the route that I'm planning on going is like I took a sales job, like I took a gig. Like I think, um, worst case scenario, like you learn some really great skills and like skills that are gonna, uh, you know, feel like feel your future business. So that's kind of my thought process going into it. Like I don't really see it as a long-term play, but I see it as like uh maximum 5 year play. Like uh
Yeah.
I'm working in a startup environment, like moving from startup to fast growth. So I think one, like I'm getting to talk to leaders, talk to executives, and like learn a ton. It's an industry that I'm pretty interested in, like HR tech. There's like some AI involved. I think that's interesting. I'm learning to sell. There's an opportunity to make a
Okay.
lot of money. And so, anyway, all that to say, my thought is 5 years max. I'm going to get a ton of knowledge. I hope I'll get a bunch of money, and I hope both of those things will be able to fund me, like in whatever my next venture is. So,
Yep.
yeah, I think sales is a good play.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. What do you rate it?
I'm gonna give that one an 8 out of 10 also.
Okay. Even though it's harder to get to that 30K in 2 years.
Yeah, yeah, I still think it's an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Cool. All
What
right.
what would you give it?
I don't know. I mean, it depends if you're rating on the criteria of like getting to 30K a month in 2 years. Like, I think,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's more of like a solid, line. Like it's pretty e-commerce is like you actually have to have something that sticks and then it kind of goes up like that. But sales is more
yep,
like that, I think a little bit so. Um,
definitely.
but certainty gives it some points, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And I think like uh outside further than the 2 years, like long run, like I think sales is a great play.
Yeah, my only thought is like after listening to so many of these biography podcasts, I feel like I have like this little, I don't know, biography man, best greatest entrepreneurs, right? Like sitting right here whispering in my ear, like if you can't get to 30K in 2 years, like why are you even considering it? Like it should be a 0 out of 10.
Mm.
I feel like this little voice whispering in
Yeah,
my ear,
yeah,
like if
yeah.
it's not all the way, then it's nothing. It's like all or nothing. I feel like so I don't know. I'm kind of torn about that. But okay, last one. So I'll go into other. So this would be, I think, classified as coding, maybe. So if I learn how to code, this first it lets me do a ton of things. So I can keep going with Flamingo sneakers. I could create something for AI. And also, I think I have a ton of ideas that I could successfully do. I don't know, I have tons of ideas, but I think there's got to be at least like two or three good ones in there, and most of them involve coding in some way or another. So
Yeah.
let me give you like a couple just from the last week. So a website on how much money would I make if I was an Uber driver? So I think it's a question a lot of people wonder. Like, I want to know exactly
Yeah.
how much I make based on where I am, what my car is, what the gas price is, how much can I actually expect to drive, and all these things. So I think that
Yep.
could be a good site. As far as I could find, it doesn't exist. So opportunity there to code a site like that.
Yep.
A website that price indexes everything across countries. I think something like this
Mhm.
might exist, but kind of where you just have people like take a picture of something and then it uploads to the computer and then it automatically creates like a database and like a graph.
Yep.
Um, Here, let me give you this one. I think this one's actually genius. I heard this at a So I went to like a kind of weird networking event. It was ran by a company, and it like they weren't advertising to you, but I've gotten like 7 emails after this event, and they're all like,
Hmm.
"We want to talk to you. We want to talk to you." Um,
Yeah.
but basically it was for e-commerce, and this one guy put out this really interesting idea. So a big thing right now is all about sustainability, right? Like all the companies have to be sustainable. Consumers, there are certain consumers who are only buying from green companies, and they're going to pay more if it's green, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so here's this idea. The green website. I should have came up with a better name for it, but the green website company. So what we do is we're kind of a consulting company. We come in, we evaluate your website, and we say, okay, as a website, you can actually, let's say if you have a fully white screen versus a fully black screen, you're going to be using more energy from whenever a consumer opens your
Hmm.
laptop and opens your site. So, if you have a fully white screen, you get a score of 0. If you have a fully black screen, it's not using any energy, so it gets a score of, I don't know, 100, let's say. So we come in
Okay.
and first we give you a score, but we're actually going to optimize your website to make it more green and give it that digital green stamp. And then you can
Yep.
display it, on your somewhere on your website. And it's gonna
Oh, that's interesting.
let consumers know that not only is this company green, but they actually are, they're going so deep to actually have a green website. So I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah.
something pretty interesting.
Dude, I think that is interesting. Yeah, there's a market for it for sure. People like are yeah, people are all on the green, like on that green train. The one thing, like my hesitation with that one is like, is that something is that something that you like genuinely believe in? Like, do you feel like that's like making a difference, or do you feel like um is that something that you feel like you could get behind?
I feel like I could. I feel like
Yeah.
there's definitely some, this whole idea that like, oh, recycling really doesn't matter. I don't know if you've seen any like news articles, anything about that, but
Yeah.
basically like in some countries, recycling is just too difficult and it ends up using so much energy to recycle it. It's better if you just threw it away or I don't know, something like that. But I think
Yeah.
you could say that for this, like, oh, like come on, it's like a couple cents here and there, but I don't know if you make it big enough, I think it could make a difference. So I think there's
Yeah.
something interesting with
Yeah.
that.
No, that is interesting. I like that.
Okay. Let me see if I have any more. I think I might have told you this one before, but do you use any cashback sites like Rakuten, Honey, any of those?
No, no.
No? Okay. Why don't you?
Um, I don't know. I don't think I have a good reason.
Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, for me, they've saved me probably, I don't know, I'd say thousands of dollars over the past couple of
Really?
years. It's gotten me back.
What do you
Yeah.
use?
So I use a combination of all of them. So I use this one called free shipping, which gives me free shipping up to $10 and also gives me 10% back on a lot of sites that other cashback places don't offer. But freeshipping.com costs $13 a month, but I easily make it
Okay.
back. Like they have a max at $1,000 you can get back. And in the first year, I maxed out at $1,000. So,
Wow.
um, yeah, so
Bless
that
you.
one was good. I've also gotten probably close to $1,000 from Rakuten in cashback, and a lot
Okay.
of this is from buying and reselling sneakers. So that
Yeah.
helps a lot.
Yeah.
Buying and
Yeah.
reselling stuff, you're kind of taking like a slice along the way as you pass the product along, but that helps. So,
Yeah.
anyways, they're really difficult to use, and a lot of times you have to like take a screenshot. You have to like keep track of the order number, keep track of the exact price. Like go find this email, that email, and like
Hmm.
submit it to them. Wait for them to email you back. Then you have to like email them with another thing, and it's
Yeah.
like I think it's really a lot more people would do it if this wasn't so difficult to use. So
Yeah.
my idea is basically, um, let me do your cash back completely hands off, and I'm just going to take 8% of however much we make you back. So
Hmm. Yeah.
we're gonna not only are we gonna keep track of all these different sites, but we're going to make sure that you're logging your cash back on the best offer, and also we're going to track different credit cards or different bank accounts or all these different like
Hmm.
offers that you can get to maximize the amount that you get back on this. And so I think if we said like, look, give us access to your email, sign up for this site, pay $13 a month, but we're not going to charge you anything until we actually make you money, and then we're going to take a certain percentage of that. And what we're going to do is, grab the email, grab the order confirmation, message them, like submit it through your link, and we're going to have all your logins. We're going to do it all for you. It's going to automatically work. Like I think there's a big side. Not only is it like a product that I think people would just pay for in the first place. But if I'm making an offer where, if you don't make any money, then I don't make any money, I feel like that's much more
Yep.
convincing.
Dude, yes, that one's money. That one's really good. I really like that. That's like the Alex Hormozy way, like the like an offer you can't refuse. Like,
Yep,
hey, like
exactly.
I'm gonna save you money. If I don't save you money, then like, hey, no harm, no foul. But if I do
Yep.
save you money, I just want a little cut of it. But like, you're gonna get money that otherwise you weren't gonna have. Like that's a super easy sell. And yeah, I haven't met much with those like cashback apps, but yeah, it sounds like I can totally understand why that's like a painful process and why people don't go down that route. So, dude,
Yeah.
I think that's a really good one.
Yeah. So anyways, I could do that if I knew how to code. Do you have a limit on time or
Yeah,
can we keep
dude.
going?
No, I have more time. I have more time.
Okay.
I need to head out at 11, so I've
Okay.
got 30 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Um, dude, I know. I feel the same way. I don't. I time and time again, I wish I knew how to code. Like over and over and over, it's like I have these ideas, and I'm like, oh man, like if I knew how to code, this would be fairly simple. Um, well, I think it would be fairly simple, but dude, yeah, maybe that's the way to go. Like maybe that's the way to go.
I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna learn how to code.
Really?
So should we set it right now? All right, I'm gonna learn how. I'm gonna learn. Setting it right now.
All right,
Going to learn.
there you go.
All right.
Okay, what's step one?
Well, so I've already kind of done step one. So I asked people, what language should I learn? I asked people, okay, if I learn this language, how should I learn it? And I've gotten a couple different recommendations for courses or sites to use. So yeah, I think I'm gonna learn JavaScript or Python. I have to
Okay,
still decide which one. And then I know a couple different sites that I can learn both of those on. So I don't know. Go on there and get started.
dang, dude, I might need to jump on the train. I don't want to commit to it right now. I'm not committing to it right now. I need to. Hmm, I don't know, but you're doing it.
All
Okay, maybe you'll be the stats. Let me know
right.
how it goes next week.
All right, cool. Okay. And let me pitch you one last idea. So,
Okay,
um, I think the number is something like there's over like 1 million books published every year, right? Like insane
yeah,
number. No one ever is going to read that much. Most of them are flops. And so the thing is, a lot of these books, like I don't think there's enough useful content to have 1 million books published every year. Would you agree with me?
I would agree. Yeah,
Okay. So this isn't targeted towards fiction books. This is more towards like self-help books, business books, all that kind of stuff. Um,
yeah.
I think that we need like I'm gonna make this term like grand consolidation of knowledge and information. And I think people just waste so much time filtering through all the noise, just to try to find like one little piece of useful information. Like it tends to be that in most books, people remember like one story and one general idea, maybe two or maybe three. Um,
Yep.
and so we need like one place where all advice exists and it's kind of consolidated. So you can say like, okay, this piece of advice is linked to this book. It's in this YouTube video. It's in this podcast. This person talks about it all the time. This person mentioned it. But this is the advice, and here's a couple stories so that you can remember this piece of advice. And then you can
Mm,
have sorted like business advice, like raising money advice, like talking to investors advice, like gets more and
mm,
more specific. You niche down and you say like,
yeah.
um, starting your investor pitch advice, and then you have like this list. And I think this would take a really long time to compile unless you made it kind of open for anyone to add to it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult. Or if you created some sort of AI that can actually, you just dump a bunch of information on it and say, give me a summary, organize it, and maybe it can do it for you. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's possible, but
Yeah.
I think this would just be so invaluable, and I think many people would pay for it. What do you think?
I think you're 100% right. 100%. I'd pay for it. You'd pay for it. I think anyone in like the business world would pay for it. Like pretty much everyone on Twitter would pay for it. Um, yeah, I think that's really good. I think there's been like people who have kind of tried to do this. I sent you a
Okay.
couple of these. There's those like, and I don't, it's not what I'm looking for, but um, it's like the app where basically there's like summaries of books and like maybe like 3 minutes and it like kind of gives you like brief summaries and then you
Yeah.
pay like $8 a month or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's kind of
Uptime.
like an
Yeah.
attempt to tap. Yeah, Uptime. There you go. That's a good one. like I think that's kind of an example of like them trying to tackle like a similar problem. Like, okay, you really don't need to read through a million books to like gain all this knowledge. Like, let's consolidate it. But it's still not like one, it's not organized. Two, like there's still like a lot of repeat information. Like all the books are still on there, and I certainly don't have time to go through and watch a 3 to 5 minute summary of like all these books. Um, yeah, dude, I love that idea. How do you
Yeah.
how do you picture the layout? Like, what do you picture it looking like?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think you could just make it like simple website where you have like categories and drop down menus and you can search. Or I think what maybe would be more interesting. So we both use Notion, right? Did I tell you about Obsidian?
Yes, that's what I was kind of picturing. Obsidian. Yeah.
It's like this web and everything's interconnected, but it has this general structure of like branching off, like the center, and then you have like the main core topics, and then it branches out from there. And maybe this thing's connected to this, but the general idea is like it's just branching outwards.
Yeah.
I think we could do something like that.
Yeah, I think so too. That's kind of what I had in mind. Um, I think it's for sure possible. I think that's something really hard to do like in the short term. Like I don't think we'd see it as a success for like many years. And it certainly couldn't be like our sole focus. It'd be something to do on the side.
Yep.
But I think it's for sure possible. And I think there's like a few ways that I think would lead to success. It's like one, starting off with like specific niches. So like pick a topic. Like how should I kick off? How should I kick off a cold call? Like cold call intro, boom, like populate a bunch of things, whatever. I don't know, whatever it is, just be really specific. So I think that's one way, like be specific, get a lot of knowledge of specific
Yep.
things. And then like the cool thing about like doing that is like people can still use the platform. So it won't be a lot of people, but there'll be people who search for that and want that. They can use our platform for that one specific thing.
Yeah.
Also, I think what would make this a lot easier and like move a lot quicker is like through our network, like people we know, people we trust, people we like respect and like value. Then I think if we can get them on board, that'd be great. So like you said, finding ways for other people to contribute. I think we need to be really specific about who contributes and who doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you like expand that network of people that want to contribute, I think it'd be a lot easier to scale.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, like I picture this as the Wikipedia, but for advice. And
Yes, that's
like
exactly what I
this is
picture.
this is one thing where I can see myself going like 100% in on. Like I'm very
Yeah,
passionate about this. Um,
yeah,
and I agree though. This is something that's going to take a while. Like it's not useful to just have 100 links. You know, you need to have like 1,000 different links that all branch off, and like every you have to go through every piece of content on this one little tiny idea just to get the best ones. And
yep.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work for sure, unless you open source it, or get in friends to help you do it. But I agree. I
Yeah.
think the way to start is to be really specific and do something on that. So is there any way we can like start doing this, as we consume content? Is there any way we can like keep track of these, do you think?
Um, yeah, there is. I don't know. Maybe why don't we each pick like a couple niches that like we're passionate about or whatever, and then just like really dive in and try and I don't know, just try and go from there. Like be specific, like go down some rabbit holes and like I don't know, try and just I don't know, give summaries of the rabbit holes we go down and like share the most like almost like this, like almost like MFM. Like I don't know, me and you both consume tons of content like every week, and we kind of come on here and share like content that we feel like has I don't know has weight and has value.
Yeah.
Maybe like similar idea for this.
Yeah. I can tell you right away, I think what I'm gonna do is e-commerce. So exactly like step by step how to do e-commerce or something like that. Or like, this guy says to do this in advertising, this guy says to do this, and all these different things. So I think I'm gonna be doing e-commerce as I go.
Okay, cool. I don't know. Maybe I'll do sales. I'll do sales. I've been reading some sales books. I want to like get more into the nitty gritty, and it's something that'll be useful for me, and I'll definitely look back on.
Yeah. Okay, I like this. I'm gonna write it down. So, e-commerce and sales. And should we create like an Obsidian type thing?
Dude, I don't know. I haven't looked a ton into it. Like I basically just went to the website. I think I watched a quick YouTube video on it. So I don't know how it works, and like you kind of have to be the one to take reign on that.
Yeah, so the way it works is much different from Notion. So Notion's like all on the web, but Obsidian's made for like keeping it's like literally supposed to be your second brain, and so it's downloaded specifically onto your computer, and so it's not like in
Hmm.
connection with internet. So you actually have to pay one if you want to connect your computer and phone, and I think you also
Hmm.
have to pay if you want to connect with like me and you working together. There is a student
Yeah,
discount, and I applied for it and got it. It's not super expensive, but I don't know if it's what we want to. Excuse me, if it's what we want to do.
I think we should start on Notion.
Okay, Notion sounds good.
Yeah. How much is it?
Not more
Oh
than like
man.
$8 a month, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can
Ooh,
find it.
let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, $8 a month for just a sync. Doesn't really give a
Yeah,
ton
so
of information.
sync is to connect your computer and your phone.
Okay, and then publish is internet. So yeah, $16 a month for publish. And then what is it?
Okay.
Half off for a student discount?
Yeah, so I think I got half off.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. So yeah,
Have you
let's
toyed around with
do.
it? Have you messed with the free version?
Yeah, I have. And it's kind of difficult to get the hang of it first, similar to Notion, but I think harder than Notion to understand it
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
It's it's really interesting though. I like how you can link things to each other.
yep.
Kind of this idea of like the spider web and how you can connect two things appear together. All you have to do is like, if you mention, let's say we're writing a paper on, I don't know, Elvis Presley, and we mention Michael Jackson, then all of a sudden it's like Michael Jackson appears, and you can click it as a link to go over here to Michael Jackson. So
Hmm.
you can sort of do that with Notion, but not in the same way. It's a really good tool. It just you need some upfront investment to figure out how to use it to the best that it can
That,
be.
that makes sense. Okay, cool. Well, that'll be. I'll. I had like I said. I actually I'm just downloading it right now. This week I'll dive into Obsidian, try and learn to understand it. If it's something that we feel like will be useful down the road, we can switch over there. It should be fairly simple. But
Yep.
let's just start in Notion.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
Okay, a couple things, and it's stuff we've already touched on, but it's just things that like I've thought this week. Like I've just been trying to think like, okay, 30K MRR in 2 years, like what's the way to go? And I feel like uh, these aren't specific ideas. These are just like I think two ways that I think are probably the best way to go. One, like e-commerce, and then the other one that I shared was like AI. I think AI is yeah, I think low likelihood. And then actually one more is just like basically starting like a website, like B2B marketing. And the idea is, did you listen to the MFM about Sarah's List?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I think that idea is money. Where there was, yeah, you shared that. I think I even texted you about it. That lady uh, reached out, like has saraslist.com, whatever, and then Sam and Sean, shared their idea on how to make this list money. And
Yep.
dude, I don't know. I just think B2B marketing is like I just think it's a moneymaker. I think it's a great space, and I think it's really copywriting. Like you just got to learn to copyright, and you got to make
Yeah.
your website where people want to go to. And yeah, I think that's moneymaker. So base idea, B2B marketing,
Can you
e-commerce. What?
wait? Can you go more into that one? So are we selling a product? Are we helping businesses market to other businesses? What are we doing?
Yeah, so yeah. Sorry, I know that was a very good explanation. I'm trying to think of exactly what Sam and Sean's idea was with this one. So I think so. Sarah's list was like the companies that Sam's wife Sarah had worked or had thought that like the upside was high, as in like you should go work at these companies that can make you $1 million just through stock options. Like they're growing. I think they're continue to grow. That was the idea. And so I think their idea for the website was basically like analyzing companies in specific industries. So maybe like top 25 tech companies to work for and why. And then I think the idea is to go and get like have these tech companies sponsor them, and then like sponsor these pages, and then start sponsoring emails. So I think that was the idea. Um, but I need to consolidate that and like have a
So
way better pitch than that.
so you want to steal their idea?
No, so I don't want to steal their idea, but I want to steal their framework.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I like it.
Um, yeah, I think that's good. And like one other, like I thought, it's like one thing that I thought about is like HR technology is a good example. Like that's like Paradox company I'm gonna go work for. Like they're an HR tech place. Like that's a super niche like industry, like HR technology. But there's a lot of people who like I actually like care a lot about this niche. So like HR directors, like even recruiters, like all those people know about HR technology and really care about it. But there's very few like sources to explore like different HR technologies. And so like an idea would be, okay, well, like why don't we make one site that analyzes all all different forms of HR technology from like recruiting to benefits, enrollment, like
Hmm.
whatever it is, onboarding, like everything. By by section, and then I think we'll generate a lot of traffic, and then you flip those leads and you go and sell those leads to the different HR like companies. So like,
Interesting.
does that model make sense?
I like that. Yeah, it's like the right articles about this and compare two different companies and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one's been proven over and over again. So as long as no one's done it and as long as you execute, and I think you can execute, I mean, at some point you probably can even get like a freelance writer to write it for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the idea.
So it's scalable. You can execute it. It's been proven. I like it. I mean, as long as no one's done it before. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're willing to put it in, I think that's a really good idea.
yeah, I think so too. And then with e-commerce, like this is kind of just what I've been thinking, where I think we could do well. And I think there's kind of two ways to go about like the e-commerce path. One, like I think the way to go is to find a cool product and basically just like find a cool product and just rebrand. And I think like branding is huge. Like I don't know if you feel like this, but I feel like 90% of the time I don't even really care about the product. Like I just want it to like look cool or like I don't know. It just needs to be appealing. And like an example is like so this is an example I was thinking like soda. Like if I go to a store and I'm looking to buy like a bottle of pop, like I really am not going to go buy like Coke if they have like some cool like one-off brand that I've never really heard of but has like a really cool bottle. I'm 10 out of 10 times I'm going to go buy that bottle even if I like Coke already. Like I'm just going to go buy the bottle because it's a cool bottle. I don't really care that much how it tastes. So that's kind of my
Interesting.
idea. And then two is like I, I think it's a good idea to go find a cool product or store that's already live, but doesn't make a ton of money, doesn't do a lot of marketing, and then I think we could go buy it and just make it way better. Like just maybe that includes rebranding, but hopefully like it already has like a solid base, and then just remarket.
I like this one. I think too, like I know my company ecom or Arm5 has been um we just worked out some SBA financing. So previously we're doing only investors, but now we're getting like, actual loans to take it on. So I think if you find
Mm,
one and if the loan's pretty small, like I think we can figure it out. I mean, usually if it's that small, one, the person's not really going to know what to expect. So I think we can get a lower price. And two, it's that small,
yep,
it's pretty easy to get a loan if we can't, come up with the money ourselves. Or it might
yep,
just be smart to get a loan anyways. So I really like that idea.
yeah,
I'd be curious to see what's out there. And yeah, I would.
yeah. And I think that's something that you could really help with. Like I think you have a lot of experience in that. Like that's literally your job is like trying to find
Finding them,
companies
yeah.
to buy. So,
Yeah.
that's what you can help with. And then also, like, I'm just gonna throw this out there. So, my girlfriend Jada, she's like a graphic design major, and like she's very good. Like I think she's gonna kill it, like in the graphic design world when she graduates. But like one of
Okay.
the things I think like her like passion, I think what she loves most is like branding. She loves branding, and so
Branding.
I'll have to like get like a portfolio together and maybe share it with you. But like I have full confidence that she could take pretty much any product and make it just look amazing. And like, yeah. And so she has a branding, like a little bit of marketing experience. I feel like I have like marketing, some sales experience. And I feel like you've got this like e-commerce thing down. And so I think
Okay.
kind of like those three together, I think would lead to success.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I really like this. These are some things that I'm gonna chew on. My brain's gonna chew on
Cool.
over the next week. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. So I'm gonna learn how to code. I'm going to what else am I gonna do? I'm gonna talk to this guy
Notion, we're
in
gonna start.
Notion. Yeah, yeah, that's right. The ideas. So ideas. I'm gonna let's call it the advice wiki. Advice
Okay.
wiki. Um Coding and what was the other one? Okay, I'm gonna talk to this guy about sales startup. See if
Yep.
we can get started, and then I don't know if I'm gonna have time, but maybe I'll look for some e-commerce cheap e-commerce businesses.
Okay.
And see if there's anything there. So
Okay.
I like that
Where do
idea.
you typically look? Like when you're looking for these businesses, where are you looking?
I mean, I can send you a list, but best ones are probably Flippa,
Okay.
website closers, website properties, micro acquire. Those are a couple
Okay.
that I've gone on. I like those.
Cool. All right, dude. You got anything else?
Oof. No, this was great. This is so good. So good. Lot
That's
came
a
out
good
of
one.
this.
Dude, I know.
Um,
I thought, yeah, it was good. I think last week's was good too. And I think the momentum carried on to today.
yeah, one thing I was gonna tell you is so I'm going to I aside from the first one I haven't posted on YouTube, but I want to post these other ones and maybe if I don't want to edit them honestly, so I think I'm just gonna post it as it is, like cut the front, cut the
Yeah.
back, maybe do like a quick intro and outro, but I'm not gonna worry about like going through and cutting. It just takes too much time.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do that, and then also I'm thinking this is the other thing I was gonna look up. So I'm gonna look up some like podcast recorders because I think there's a way where we can separately record our audio and then when you merge it together it's much higher quality. And
Oh, cool.
that also makes it easier to put in audio format. So I mean, if we're gonna put it
Yep.
on YouTube, I think we might as well just set up a podcast and load it there. At least maybe
Yeah,
someone will
dude,
find it and
totally.
think it's cool. So I
I
think
think so too.
I'll look into that and I'll let you know what I find. Try to do it in the next couple
Cool.
days or so.
Yeah, man. I think it's also just good for us to like look back on, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. All right, I'm pumped up. Sam's always talking about how he's exhausted, but no, I feel the opposite. I feel like I'm ready to go. I want to I'm sad that it's 7 p.m. at night. Like I want to go. I want to go do some stuff. I want to fight somebody. All right, cool, man.
All right, dude. Love it. Peace. See you next
Peace.
week.
See you later.